What made Los Zetas worse than other cartels? To understand this, we must first dive into their origins. In the shadowy underworld of the late 90s, the Gulf Cartel, a formidable force in the Mexican drug trade, fostered a new breed of enforcers. These were not your average thugs. They were former commandos of the Mexican army, men who had traded their military badges for a life of crime. This deviation from the norm was a game changer. The Zetas, as they were known, brought with them discipline and tactical expertise, qualities that were largely absent in the chaotic world of organized crime. This was no ragtag group of criminals. They were a well-oiled machine, a product of their military past, and they soon carved out a niche for themselves within the Gulf Cartel. However, their hunger for power and control was insatiable. The stage was set for a power struggle, one that would eventually lead to their breakaway from the Gulf Cartel. It was this unique blend of military training and lawlessness that set the stage for the unprecedented violence Los Zetas would become known for. The rise of Los Zetas was marked by a departure from traditional cartel operations. In contrast to their contemporaries, Los Zetas pushed the boundaries of organized crime. They didn't limit themselves to just drug trafficking. Instead, they branched out, establishing a vast network of illicit activities that encompassed sex and gun rackets, protection rackets, assassinations, extortion, and kidnappings. This diversification was a game changer. It not only allowed them to amass wealth at a staggering rate, but also to wield significant power and influence. The expansion into these new criminal enterprises was a calculated move, a strategy that furthered their reach and control, which in turn allowed them to grow rapidly. But their rise wasn't without internal conflict. Originally formed as enforcers for the Gulf Cartel, Los Zetas eventually broke away to form their own syndicate. This split was fueled by disagreements over leadership and alliances. Their ambitions were larger than being merely an enforcement arm of another cartel. They sought to be the ones in control, to hold the reins of power. Their departure from the Gulf Cartel was a turning point. It marked the beginning of their reign as a standalone organization, one that would come to be known for its brutality and ruthlessness. Their modus operandi evolved, and so did their reputation. They became feared, notorious for their extreme violence that they used not just as a means to an end, but as a tool to expand and maintain their power. Los Zetas were not just another drug cartel. They were a diversified criminal enterprise that used extreme violence to expand and maintain their power. Los Zetas' reign of terror could not last forever. The fall of Los Zetas was as dramatic and tumultuous as their rise. The seeds of their dissolution were sown from within, with power struggles and infighting tearing at the fabric of their unity. Their extreme violence, once a horrifying emblem of their power, became a liability. Their unpredictability made them an unstable ally, complicating their relationships with other cartels. As they engaged in a dangerous dance of alliances and rivalries, their influence began to wane. Power shifted, loyalties changed, and the once indomitable Los Zetas found themselves vulnerable. Their brutal tactics had escalated the violence in the Mexican drug wars to unprecedented levels, and this did not go unnoticed. Law enforcement agencies, both local and international, intensified their efforts to dismantle this formidable syndicate. The very traits that had once made Los Zetas a force to be reckoned with were now their Achilles heel. Their propensity for violence and their erratic behavior had made them a target. They were, in essence, victims of their own viciousness, their own thirst for power. As their enemies closed in and their ranks crumbled, the once mighty Los Zetas found themselves on the brink of extinction. The downfall of Los Zetas serves as a stark reminder of the self-destructive nature of violence. Their story is a testament to the fact that in the end, brutality begets nothing but ruin. In the end, the very traits that made Los Zetas so terrifying also led to their undoing. Los Zetas may no longer be Mexico's largest drug cartel, but their legacy of violence lingers on. Born from the ranks of Mexico's elite military commandos, they brought a level of discipline and ruthlessness previously unseen in the world of organized crime. This wasn't just about drug trafficking. They expanded into new criminal frontiers, from sex and gun rackets to protection rackets, assassinations, extortion, and kidnappings. Their influence stretched far beyond their own organization. Their extreme violence, marked by beheadings, torture, and indiscriminate murder, led to a dramatic escalation in the brutality of the modern Mexican drug wars. This wasn't just a change in degree, it was a change in kind. Other cartels, in a bid to match their power, began to adopt similar tactics, creating a ripple effect of violence that continues to this day. So, what made Los Zetas worse than other cartels? It was their military discipline, their expansion into new criminal enterprises, and their unprecedented use of violence. They were more than a drug cartel. They were a force of terror that changed the face of organized crime in Mexico.